Rise and grind, folks. Guys, I'm on the way to a brand new customer. This is a landlord. She called and said that one of her tenants said that the heat stopped working. She said she had a friend try to put in the thermostat and it still didn't work. Her friend told her that something's going on with the wires or something's going on with the unit. But guys, I am almost there right now. Let's go take a look. I'll see y'all when I get inside. What they got here is quite the conundrum. They're saying the only way they can turn this on is by jumping out the wires. They replaced the thermostat upstairs. Nothing turns on, but they gotta manually jump it out down here for it to start. This is a York 90%er. I just had to make sure I'm getting power. LED light on, yep. And this is an interface module. Probably because they don't have a common at the thermostat. But let me get my meter. I'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, we got quite the fiasco on our hands here. This is a model, an interface module for a particular Honeywell thermostat. You see here, this thing has communication terminals. It has the conventional wiring setup, but this is a little different. But this thing is stating that my 24 from R to C should be here. I'm not getting anything. And tracing the wires. One set comes from the board and the other goes upstairs. I gotta make sure, even though my LED light is on, I gotta make sure I don't have any safeties open, or I definitely gotta trace this set of wire back to see why we're not getting 24 at this interface module. All right, guys, let me do that. I need both of my hands. I'll be back. Guys, tracing the wires back, I wanted to start first with my wires coming out the circuit board. And you see here, this condensate pump was hooked up. And this pump is full of water. So what I did was I temporarily bypassed this to see if I can get 24 from R to C. And I seen a spark. My fuse opened up. I gotta see how that thermostat is wired upstairs. Let me take a picture of this, and I'm gonna go upstairs and see how it's hooked up. I'll be back, guys. They got a conventional thermostat that doesn't use terminals 1, 2, and 3. As you see the picture, my red, white, and green. Whoever put that thermostat in had the red, white, and green on. Power, fan, and heat, which is the W1. But I don't think that's how this module is intended to work. What I'm gonna do is replace the fuse and take the wires off and see if I can get 24 at this control. Best case, if the fuse doesn't pop, I'm just gonna recommend removing the module and running this furnace and AC conventional without this module. But give me a second, let's see what happens. I'll be back. Guys, this pump is shot. And I got the new fuse in. Nothing, which is good, meaning it's not popping. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ohm out the wires. I gotta make sure my wires are good. And if that's the case, we're gonna recommend replacing the pump and hooking this up conventional. But give me a few minutes, guys. I'll be right back. All right, guys. Right now, I have my interface module bypassed I got the wires from the board connected to the wires from the thermostat. This is a 2-stage furnace, so I got W1 and W2 wiring it together. And the reason for what I'm doing now is I want to test the integrity of my thermostat wire from here upstairs, because the customer thought that maybe the wires are damaged in the wall because they got a lot of work done. But the fact that this is running is good. But guys, give me 1 second, I'll be back. All right, guys. This customer wants to get the work done. What I'm gonna do is I got the filter out in pieces. I'm gonna get the pump in first, and we're gonna get the maintenance done. I'll be right back. All right, guys. We got our new pump in. See all that water? And some pumps have the optional safety wire, but for 115 volt condensate pumps, this is highly recommended, especially if you have a coil above the living space. Any system that produces water, if you have a system above the living space in which it could damage the floors, always hook up your float switches and hook up your safety wires on a pump. Unfortunately, a float switch is not going to turn off the unit if the pump backs up. The pump itself has a built-in safety mechanism. If the float engages and the water continues to fill, this is going to open up whatever circuit you tied to. We recommend you killing the R wire. I won't recommend killing any other terminal and still having power to the system. But guys, this is definitely important for you to do. But since this is in the basement, luckily we didn't have this pump overflow and cause any issues with sealant damage. So, all right, guys, I got my water to test the pump, but before then, I gotta go to the truck and I gotta get a new filter, and I'm gonna do the heat maintenance here. I gotta wipe the burners down and get all this dust out the furnace. I'll be right back, guys. I got my flame sensor cleaned. Surprisingly, top of the burners look good. I'm just gonna get my rag and wipe all this dust out the way. I'm gonna remove this, and I'm gonna make my junction point with the wires, probably in the middle cabinet. And we should be good. All right, let me get my rag. Where is it? Right here. All right, guys, let me get to it. I'll be back. All right, guys. Right now, I got everything buttoned up, and I'm just testing my pump. I need more water. Hold on, guys, I'll be back. I just tested my pump. Everything's rocking and rolling. Right now, I got the thermostat up to 80 upstairs. And for context, this is a 3-wire setup on the wall. They have a cooling condenser, but they don't use the AC here. I think the cooling condenser got disconnected from outside years ago. I explained to the customer the same thing I explained to you guys earlier about connecting W1 and W2 together. Now, the customer is cool with using this as a single-stage furnace. At this point, they're doing a bunch of remodeling work, so he said at this point, as long as the heat is working, he doesn't really care about the features and benefits of a 2-stage furnace. But guys, another thing, that thermostat that was on the wall, the customer said that thermostat was blank, and even when it was working, the digital display, they had to tap on it for the display to turn on. So that's what led them to replacing the thermostat initially. But as you see, the module on my hand, that thermostat didn't have your conventional RWYC connections. It had terminals 1, 2, and 3. And that's why what's hooked up upstairs now is this R, G, and I think W. And once again, there's no AC hooked up, so it is what it is with the AC. But for sure, since the customer has a coil and condenser accessible, even if it's disconnected, I mean, that is an option down the line for them to reconnected. They'll just have to run a new thermostat wire and we can get that squared away. But yeah, guys, this turned into an easy diagnosis. No heat, we found no power at the module between R and C. We backtracked and we found the safety wires open. And we found the safety wires open on the pump. And once we bypassed the pump, the fuse opened. So at a minimum, we knew our pump was bad, but then we had to figure out what was causing the fuse to open. And that's when I went upstairs and I found a conventional thermostat hooked up for terminals 1, 2, and 3, which is incorrect. So next, I isolated the wires to make sure my thermostat wires are okay. And once I jumped the wires out from the board and from the wires in the board, that's how I knew that this module is no longer needed. So I just removed the module, hooked this up conventional, and this customer should be good to go. But alright guys, I gotta clean up here and I gotta do the paperwork. But yeah guys, troubleshooting older interface modules is relatively simple. Guys, what I'm showing you here is nothing more than just a knockoff carrier communicating board. You have a bunch of features and benefits, humidifiers, dehumidifier, indoor air quality terminals, all that stuff. But guys, most importantly, whenever you're looking at older controls, always start first with incoming power. If you don't have incoming power, then this control doesn't matter. You'll have to then go backwards and find out where this board is losing power. In this case, that's what led us to going back to the condensate pump wires. But always guys, I don't care what you're diagnosing, always break things down into the smallest detail and you can never go wrong with troubleshooting. But alright guys, that's enough yapping in the trap. I gotta get going. I gotta pack up and leave. Let me make sure I got all the doors right here. Alright guys, I gotta rock out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.